Hello again, Aquarius. Dadhichi here from astrology.com.au with your June 2015 brief forecast. It's quality, not quantity. And it's an important month due to the fact that 3 planets in your 5th house of romance, speculation, and it's also considered a karmic house in some astrological circles. These 3 planets really focusing a lot of energy there. Mercury in retrogression, along with the Sun and Mars, do make this a focal point. And later in the month, on the 17th, when we see the new moon taking place, that too is going to really emphasize this part of the horoscope and that part of your life. Of course, being a new moon does say a lot about the fact that romance, new people are on the horizon. That doesn't always mean a new love affair. It can do, but it can also signify a very distinct change in attitude or the way that you choose to approach your relationships from here on in. And generally that is for the better. Although the moon for you rules your 6th house, and that is not particularly favourable. But I'd like to think that that's counteracted by the fact that Mercury, which is the ruler of the 5th, is retrograde. And it rules the 8th house of sexuality and intimacy. That has been emboldened throughout this retrogression period up until the 12th, when it moves in direct motion. So what we see here is a very strong focus relating to a move forward, making of changes in either the person or the nature and the way of which you interact with people on those intimate levels. That could be sexually. We also see to the full moon taking place on the 3rd in the opposite house, the 11th house of friendships. So there's a lot happening across that axis. We see good fortune brought to you by the fact that the North Node is in the 9th house, forming a nice 120-degree trine aspect to this area. You do have a bit of a problem there, and that is indicated by the square aspect of Neptune in the 2nd house. Now, Neptune has to do with finances, so maybe this has relationship to finances and speculation on the one hand, but let's just stick to that original theme of relationships. The square of Mercury to Neptune. Let me get a fix on this here, because I think it's happening a little bit later. I haven't got it there listed. At 8 degrees. Well, it's pretty much exact as the month begins, moving retrograde, but then it goes forward. So there's a bit of a confusing time all through that first half of the month. You need to be careful. And in the way in which you are communicating what you want, if it is change that you want in the relationship, you do not want to be misconstrued or misunderstood. So it's important. Hey, I always say that if there's a problem there and you're a little bit fuzzy and you're thinking, it's always a good idea to get one of these. They're called pens, and a little bit of this, which is called paper, and you write down what it is you're trying to say. And yeah, the benefit there is that people can't come back at you and say, oh, you said this, and no, you said that, because that's exactly what can happen under these nebulous sorts of Mercury-Neptune transits. At least if it's written down, then it's there, documented, and everyone can see it, and there's no ambiguity in what's been said, only in what's been misunderstood. So that's very significant. We see also the enhancement of those qualities and those forecasts by Jupiter being in your 7th house, and then the transit on the 6th of Venus to your 7th house is very lucky as well. So you've got a really a couple of very good combinations taking place there in the 7th and the 5th house with that favourable influence from the North Node, showing that you can really slip into the modality of what's current, what's going down socially. And this can happen even in areas of education, because the 9th house has to do with university study, law, and foreign journeys as well. So some of you may want to take some trips now. Unbeknownst to a lot of astrologers, the 7th house has to do with journeys. When Venus moves there, you may have the opportunity with your partner to travel, or if you're single, to travel for the purpose of socializing and meeting new people. So all is very, very nice there. The position of Jupiter in the 7th house is also interesting around the 22nd. So around the 18th to the 22nd, we see that trine aspect to Uranus. And that's in the 3rd house, again, a journeying house. There could be something unexpected that relates to travel or meeting people at a distance. And you should take advantage of that, because the trine aspects usually indicate ease, joy, happiness, good luck, and a bit of a free-flowing energy that makes it nice and easy to deal with. Venus does move into the opposite sign to your sun sign, so you need to be very clear on who you are, especially if you're dealing with people in a social context, so that there's no misrepresentation. For example, the statements you make, the non-verbal cues you give through your clothing, your attire, your fashion, your statements, what you wear, tattoos, for example, all these sorts of things have a marked influence on the way people judge you or misjudge you too. And that could also be tied in with that Mercury-Neptune square that we talked of earlier. Venus moves into an excellent trine, however, on the 29th, leading up to that, again from the 7th house to the 3rd house. So this should be some very interesting times indeed, especially for those of you seeking romance. Look forward to your company again next month, as usual. Don't forget astrology.com.au for more detailed analysis on your horoscope, or those of your friends and family. Lots of free readings and personal consultations if you want. They're available as well. Till next month, take care. Bye-bye.